Hello and welcome to the Anxious Knitter podcast. My name is Joy and I am the Anxious Knitter. I'm so anxious that I routinely have Luke check my pulse to make sure that I'm not in the middle of a heart attack, despite having been to 2 separate doctors who have assured me that I'm not having a heart attack. They keep telling me it's stress. I keep thinking that I'm dying. What are you gonna do? Anyway, you are here for episode 25. Like I said, my name is Joy, and I'm coming to you from Waterloo, Ontario, Canada, where I live with my husband Luke and our dog Opie. This is a podcast mostly about knitting, but occasionally about crochet, sewing, spinning, dyeing, and whatever other crafty thing catches my fancy at the moment. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I'm very excited to have you here. I know it's been a while. I'll talk about that in a bit, but I'm just glad that you're here. And if you are brand new, just stumbling on my little corner of the internet for the first time, welcome. And I hope you find something that you like. It's been a while. I know, okay? And it's been weighing on me, but I've had sort of like an off week and a half. I've just felt really weird, and it's one of those like annoying things because there's no reason for me to feel weird or feel down or low or whatever. So you're like, why do you feel like this? Get it together. And then you remember like, oh, well, sometimes your brain does things and it doesn't make rational sense, and that's why it sucks so bad. You just gotta ride it out, I guess. So I'm feeling better today. I was feeling kind of sick earlier today. Not that that really matters, but I'm feeling good now. So here I am, some 2 weeks later. I'm gonna get back on schedule, guys, I promise. But it wasn't for lack of having content. I have plenty of content for you. I just could not bring myself to set all this stuff up. Honestly, I don't know. But I'm really excited about today's episode because I have some cool things to show you. Like, well, I think they're cool, but maybe you won't think they're as cool as I think, but whatever. I'm going to talk about them anyway. And I also have what may be the ultimate dweeb story of the week. It's so ultimate that I even refrained from Instagramming it because I didn't want any spoilers getting out. So yeah, pull up a chair, get a coffee, put on some mood lighting. Turn on some mood lighting. You don't have to do that. But get ready, because I'm going to tell you my dweeb story of the week. Okay, guys, this is a doozy, okay? I hope I'm not hyping it up too much and then I'm going to let you down, but I think it's a pretty funny story. This happened last week, and let me take you back a little bit. And it was middle of the night, and I was sleeping, and Opie was sleeping peacefully between me and Luke, and we heard something. I heard something, and Opie heard something. Luke did not hear anything because he sleeps like the dead. And it was like a crash in the living room, and that doesn't usually mean anything because the sound travels oddly in our apartment, so that if you have like a window open in the bedroom sometimes and a window open in the living room area, you can hear sounds from outside, and it sounds like something's coming from the living room, but it's actually a noise that's from outside. That's what my rational brain was telling me. Of course, my non-rational brain was like, you're about to get murdered. But anyway, that only increased because Opie actually sat up and like got up out of bed and wouldn't get back into bed until I woke Luke up and made them do like rounds. And like Opie was like doing his like checkup of the apartment. Nothing. No murderers. So we went back to bed. I heard something else later in the night crash into our bedroom door. I swear upon, I don't know, a grave. Somebody's grave. I swear upon it. Heard something at the door. But I was too afraid to get up, and I was too afraid to wake Luke up, and I was like, if it's an intruder, we'll just be asleep, and maybe they'll go away after they've stolen our laptops. So anyway, went back to bed. In the morning, nothing seemed particularly out of place, and went on with my day. It began to thunderstorm, okay? It was literally a dark and stormy night. Luke had left the apartment to go to his parents' house to get stuff to fix our sliding door. So I was alone in the apartment, thundering, pouring rain out there. It's dark, okay? Just so you know, it was dark in my apartment. I'm sitting there knitting, working on one of my new cast-ons I'm going to talk about soon. And I see something kind of like flutter in like the corner of my eye. And I was like, oh dang, a moth got in here. I hate moths. We get giant moths that fly in here and they're gross. And Opie looked up and I was like, dang, this moth. I look at the moth. It is not a moth. It is a bat. A full-grown bat was flying around in my apartment, guys. Full grown. I immediately screamed and hit the floor, okay? Dragging yarn with me. I grab Opie, I pull him off the couch, I drag him over to his crate, and I lock him in the crate right to my right, where I am right now, because I did not want him getting bitten by a bat and getting rabies, okay? I also did not want to get bit by a bat and get rabies. So I'm crawling around on the floor. I am covered in yarn because I just literally like flew off the couch, dragged my knitting with me. I'm trying to find my phone. I'm losing my mind, okay? I call my parents. Why I don't call Luke right away, I don't know. Maybe I just figured my parents, with all of their worldly experience, would know how to handle this situation. My mom answers the phone. Oh, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, there's a bat in my apartment! And they're like, what? I was like, there's a bat. It is in here. It is flying above my head, okay? And it was. You could hear its wing beats, guys, okay? It was flying. It wasn't even like just battering around the apartment. It was flying in circles like it owned the place, okay? Also, okay, just quick side note. My sliding door is open, and I really am quite sure that people can hear me, but oh well. Anyway, back to the story. I crawl, like army crawl, across the floor to my door. I wrench it open despite the sheets of rain outside, because I'm like, maybe it will just fly out by itself. Would I be so lucky? No, I would not, okay? I see it. It flies into the sliding door, gets within like this many inches, I don't know, 4 inches, 4 inches of the open, like 3 feet opening, 2 feet maybe, 2.5, of the door, and then flies back into the apartment. I, at this point, have gone hysterical. I'm screaming like I'm being stabbed to death, okay? I'm crying. My parents are trying to calm me down on the phone. I can't calm down. I wedge myself into the space by my stove on the floor with like my hands over my head. I'm weeping into the phone, and then silence. Complete silence. I don't know where the bat has gone. My parents go, you should go and close all the other doors in the apartment so that whatever room it's in, it can't get into other rooms. I was like, I really don't want to go. I don't want to go. I can't get up off the floor. My parents were like, Joy, you need to get up off the floor and be an adult. They didn't say that, but I mean, I did need to get up off the floor and be an adult. So, I creep around here, so past here towards that hallway. The armchair is over there. I'm so on edge that I put my hand down on the armchair and my hand touches like the buttons, like the metal buttons of a sweater, and I scream because I'm not anticipating a different texture. I don't know. My parents are like, what? I'm like, nothing. I creep down the hallway, get to our bedroom. I'm about to reach for the door. The bat is in my bedroom, on my bed. It flies up and comes at my face, at eye level, folks, okay? At eye level. So I scream, I run, it's flying, flapping above my head. It's like a movie, okay? Flying above my head. I get back into my spot on the stove and I say, sorry guys, I can't do nothing. They're like, okay, we're gonna come and we're gonna get the bat. You should call Luke. So I do. I call Luke. He's like, hey, again, I scream, there's a bat in the apartment. His parents are like, you should probably go and take care of that. So I'm sitting there. The The bat has since stopped moving. I do not know where it is. I do not know if it has left. I spent so much time with my head literally like ducked down, I forgot to watch for the bat. I sat there for probably 20 minutes while I was waiting for whoever got there first. I managed to get up to unlock the door, but I didn't get anywhere else. I just sat there because at one point, I mean, literally the bat was just flying in circles and I was huddling on the floor. But silence. Luke gets home first. He's totally cool. He's not afraid. He's not on the floor having a panic attack. He goes around the apartment, banging things, no movement. Do I dare hope that the bat has left on its own and I did not notice? Then my parents arrive. Everyone's looking for the bat. Nobody can find the bat. Like, maybe it's gone. Maybe it flew away, Joy. But I don't know if it flew away. How will I ever be able to sleep in this apartment again if I don't know where the bat is? So I've come out of, like, I'm trying to laugh it off. I'm still shaky. I'm like, did you check the office? Luke's like, yeah, I walked in there. I was like, well, did you check closer? I walk into the office. I kid you not, guys. Within 3 seconds, I spotted the bat. I spotted it. Poor thing. It had wedged itself into, like, the space between, like, the window panes, trying to find a way out. I scream. Everybody comes running. In the end, Luke and my dad got the bat into a Tupperware container and then got it outside. I do have video footage of it. I will try to insert it here.
Okay, he's moving.
I can't see that well from my angle.
Yeah.
Is he going into the thing?
He's almost there. Just drop this a little bit more. Okay. No.
I mean, I felt bad for the bat because obviously the bat was like, what the heck? I don't know what's happening. I was outside and now I'm not. But I could not. I was on edge for like the rest of the night and most of the next day. Okay? So what this has taught me, couple things. 1, in the face of danger, I lose it. And it's not even real danger. Because I feel like if it was a real danger, I probably would not have lost my crap. But I just did not know how to handle the bat. I really did not want to get bit by the bat and have to go get rabies shots. Because I am terrified of needles. Like, I salivate like a dog when somebody comes at me with a needle. It's like I'm drooling, okay? It's disgusting. Second thing I learned, nobody in my apartment building will call the cops when they hear a young woman screaming bloody murder and sobbing like she's begging for her life. So that's good to know. No faith in people. No, that's not true. I do have faith in people. Just it's really depressing. Like that I was literally running around the apartment like just losing my mind, screaming bloody murder. And nobody came, like, even knocked on the door like, hey, is everything okay in there? I don't know. But there you go. That is my ultimate dweeb story. I honestly don't know if I will ever be able to top that dweeb story. It took me like 12 minutes to tell, but I hope you enjoyed it. Because it's funny now in retrospect. I can laugh about it, but it was not funny while it was happening. And I felt like a real idiot at the end of it that I just lost my cool completely. But yeah, so that's the end of that segment. Let's move on. Let's take care of some housekeeping with Hear Ye, Hear Ye. This is super quick. Just so you guys know, we do have one remaining knit along happening right now, which is the West Knits Along, #TAK, West Knits Cow. You have till September 15th to get your finished objects ready. And I will be opening up a thread in the Ravelry group shortly, in the next week, to start posting your finished objects. So make sure that you remember to do that, because I know a lot of you have posted your finished objects in the chatter thread, but will not have obviously put them in the non-existent, finished objects thread. So just make sure that you get those in there, and so that you're eligible for a prize. And if you're a quick knitter, or you want to work on a smaller West knits pattern, you are welcome to start that now. Anything counts. Hats, fingerless gloves, scarves, blankets, shawls, sweaters, knitted pants and shorts, whatever you want to do. And I will say, because I don't think I put this anywhere, because I know some of you have like finished a West knits pattern and then started a new one, like myself. I will say you can post them separately in the finished objects thread as separate entries, just because, I mean, there's a lot of knitting. So, yeah. And works in progress are allowed. So if you've had a languishing West knits whip sitting around and you want some incentive to bust that out and finish it, you can do that. I don't think there's anything else. Again, I'm going to mail out all those packages. I'm so sorry, guys. It's just, I mean, staying awake has been hard this past like week and a half. But I'm gonna get that out this week, like the week coming. Cross my heart. Hope to die, stick a needle in my eye. Okay. And I guess the only other thing is KW Knitters Fair. If you guys are going to be going to KW Knitters Fair on September 9th in Kitchener-Waterloo, then I will hopefully see you there, because I'm planning to go. But let me know in the comments if you're going to be there. And if you are going to be there, don't hesitate to say hi. I'd love to meet you guys and chat about some yarn. Yeah, because that's going to be a lot of fun. You'll be my hometown, unless you are also in your own hometown, which is KW. So, cool. Yeah, that's the end of announcements. I have a couple of ideas for future cows coming up that I'm pretty stoked about, but I don't think I'm going to get into those quite yet. I'm going to wait until West Knits closes up, and then I will announce the next one. Yeah, so let's move on into the actual knitting content, okay? We're almost 20 minutes into this recording. Well, not including all of the, like, screw-ups of my intro. Yeah, let's just get right in there with finished objects. I have one. I have a finished object. Okay. I finished a hat. I finished the hat. The Quist hat by Melanie Berg, which is a hat I've knit for Luke. Here it is. It is a fingering weight hat. I have a good chunk of yarn left over. It's got a mock cable pattern that goes all the way around. I knit this in Yarn Indulgences in a one-of-a-kind colorway, but it's on her 100% superwash merino base. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. It turned out really nice. It looks like it would be gigantic, but it fits really good, and it's got a really nice amount of slouch. At least, I mean, a lot of people wear their hats like this, but I don't, because I have short hair, and then, you know, I run the risk of looking bald. But yeah, so, funny story about this hat. I loved knitting it until I got to the decreases, and the main decrease is a knit 5 together, which, like a knit 2 together is you knit 5 stitches together. I could not. It was so hard to knit these 5 stitches together. I was struggling so much, and I'd cramp up my hands, and it was painful, and so I would like dread working on it because I just didn't want to be in pain, obviously, while I was knitting. And I was just so frustrated with that, and I was trying everything to try and make the stitches like looser so that I could get my needle in them. It was so hard. And then the like third to last decrease round, I YouTubed a knit 5 together, and somebody did it where they knit the 5 stitches and then they passed 4 of the stitches over. And I was like, wow, this would have saved me a ton of grief over the past like week and a half. So I did that for the last bit, and it was much easier. So I would recommend going that route if you decide to knit the twist hat. But it's also good because I'd wanted to knit myself one of these, and then as I was doing the decreases, I was like, I can't do this again. There's no way. I can't do it. But now that I know there's an easier way to do that knit 5 together, I will be casting on my own twist hat pretty soon. And we've had some amazing weather lately. It's like practically early fall weather. It's super nice and chilly in the mornings. I've been able to wear my Veronica cardi outside while I walk Opie, and you know, hat weather is not out of the question. So especially fingering weight hats, which are my favorite, I think. Although to be fair, I've not really knit a DK weight or a sport weight hat, so maybe one of those is my favorite. I don't know. Guess we'll find out if I ever do it. But yeah, it's a great pattern. It has, I think, a really nice visual impact. Here you can see the, hold on. Let me just get it so you can see both parts of this stitch pattern. But it's got a really nice texture that makes it look a lot more complicated than it is, and I think this would look really beautiful in a solid yarn or like a really soft, like a semi-solid or tonal yarn. But it also breaks up your variegation pretty nicely if you have a variegated yarn. So yeah, I'm excited to have that off the needles, and Luke can start wearing that now. But that's the only finished object that I have. I've got some whips, so let's move right along to works in progress. Okay, so I've cast on a lot of things and not finished most of the things I already cast on. I will say I have been working on my sizzle pop, but I didn't get enough done to really warrant showing it, so hopefully by the next episode I'll have a little bit more to show you. But let's see, let's start with my least exciting cast on. It's least exciting to me, I guess. So I did cast on another shawl, and it is a West Knits pattern. It's the Boneyard shawl, which is free, so if you want to join in on the West Knits Cal, but you don't want to buy a new pattern, the Boneyard shawl is free. And I'm doing the modified version that makes it a little, I think, longer and less deep. It's DK weight. Whoop, here it is. I don't know if you're really going to get a sense of there we go. So I'm using 3 colors for this. I'm using, this is actually a sport weight, which you can tell because it is a little gappier than these two. This is a Regia sport yarn in like a really nice mint green color. And then these two are Barocco Vintage DK, which is an acrylic wool blend. I really like it. I would knit a sweater in this. It feels really nice, and the stitches look really nice. But I just had these skeins sitting in my stash forever, and because I bought the orange for my Ravenclaw scarf, but I didn't like it, and it was too thin in comparison to the blue that I had, and so I ripped all of it out. So I had these 2 or 3 skeins of orange yarn sitting around. I didn't know what to do with them. And then this was also from an antler hat that I had knit for my older brother for Christmas, but it turned out way too small, so I ripped it all out, I frogged the hat, and I made him a new one. So again, I have this yarn sitting around in my stash. And I thought they looked kind of cool together, and I wanted to have maybe a shawl that's just a little bit heavier for colder weather. I do want to knit a worsted weight shawl, but this I thought would be a good transition shawl, and it'd be really simple, and it would look nice with my gray coat. So yeah, I have quite a ways to go. I haven't worked on this in a while, but I made most of this progress in like 2 or 3 days. It's a very, very quick knit. And it's just basically stockinette with some garter ridges in there. And it's not a stripe, like I am doing my own striped pattern. So if you're curious, I just went to the garter ridge for each one. There you go. Super, super easy. And a very cheap shawl, in all fairness, because Barocco Vintage DK is very inexpensive. You can knit a sweater in that yarn for probably like $50. And I mean, it does have acrylic content, which I know a lot of people don't like, but it does have wool in it, and in comparison to some of the acrylics that I've used, it does feel really nice. I think it would make a great pullover, and like I said, I'm thinking about doing that. So yes, that's the Boneyard shawl. And I also, here, let's talk about my spinning really quick. I've been working away on my newest spin. It is the Loving Path in her gnome colorway, and it's so pretty. Obviously, I'm in the section that's all purples, but there's lots of different colors in here. It's a merino silk blend, and it is lovely. It is beautiful to spin. This is all I have left for the first, I guess my first ply, because I'm doing a 2-ply, so I split up my fiber. But yeah, it's very densely packed on there. I'm very happy with this spin. I'm getting a lot more comfortable. But yeah, I've been spinning quite a lot, as you can tell. I feel like, and it's funny because I still do park and draft. I have tried, like, where I think it's drafting on the fly, or I don't remember exactly what it's called, but where you like spin it and then you're drafting and like spinning the yarn as the spindle is spinning. I don't like it as much. It stresses me out, and I don't find that this really slows me down in the park and draft. I actually, what I do is the first couple spins I do, like, I catch it between my knees, but then for the next couple ones I catch it between my feet, so I can get quite a bit of length before I have to wind onto the cop or whatever again. So that's really nice. I'm really excited because I actually made my own nitty knotty, but I'll show you that another time because it's way over there. But I made a nitty knotty out of copper piping, which cost like under $10 for all of it. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna go get it. I'll show it to you. Alright, so yeah, here it is. Here is my homemade copper nitty knotty. I just bought one pipe that was 3 feet long and had it cut, into one 12-inch piece and 4 6-inch pieces, and I got the little like T things, and yeah, so there it is. I wanted to get PVC pipe, but apparently Home Depot doesn't sell that anymore out here, which was weird. So I went with the copper. Yeah, super cheap, guys, if you need a nitty knotty for winding your finished handspun onto. But yeah, so hopefully we'll have that ply done and the next ply on the spindle soon. Okay. Another new cast on, and another West Knits pattern. I swear, I was not doing that on purpose. I saw, it was Caitlin of the Wool Jewel podcast. She did a parachutey, and I was like, that is really cute. And I have all these skeins of yarn and all these leftovers, and I don't know what to do with them. So I was like, let's make a parachutey. So I started knitting one, and I love it. This is the front piece, completed. Oh, my mom just texted me something. She's texting me about pumpkin spice lattes. Yes, my favorite topic of conversation. So yeah, here it is. I'm doing the modification that a lot of people have done, where they knit the large size, so you get some more length, but you do the neck shaping for the small. And the way I'm doing this, because it's a random striping pattern, you can do whatever you want. It's not written into the pattern. What I did is I chose 3 skeins to kind of act as my anchor skeins. So the pink is a single ply yarn of my own hand dyed, which is, it's the first skein of avocado yarn that I ever dyed, which is a solid. And then I'm using the Lichen and Lace Silver Fox colorway, and Fiber for the People in the Seagull colorway, which is right here, which is lovely, which is why I have giant panels of it on the front. And then I've put in some scraps. So the only scraps I used for the front were here. This is Madeline Tosh and the Stephen Loves Tosh colorway, which I think is discontinued, but is unfortunate because it's one of my favorites. I would love to knit like a whole garment in that colorway. And the other color here is the Manos del Uruguay Alegria in the Kaibo colorway, I think it was called. It's that pink and yellow. The only thing that I'm like, I wish I hadn't done that, was this center bit where I thought it would look really cool to just have like the equal parts of the silver, pink, and like silver. But I wish I had done the pink wider and had 2 skinny stripes of silver. But whatever, who cares? I'm gonna wear it to death anyway. It's obviously like just garter stitch. It's so simple, but like addicting because of the stripes and deciding what you're gonna do next. And a lot of people really just go so super random. I can't do that. I'm like, I don't know. I'm one of those people that if I'm sitting like if I was doing yoga and I'm sitting cross-legged for like the meditation part, I can like, I'm acutely aware of like if one of my knees is slightly higher than the other, and it irritates me. So, fun fact about me. But I have cast on the back piece. Oh, it's right here in front of me. And I have not sewn in any of the ends. So yeah, so the back, again, the same, those 3, the Manos del Uruguay Alegria, the Stephen Loves Tosh, but I've also added the Delectable Yellow Dollet colorway and another indigo dragonfly yarn that I don't remember the name of, but I knit my Mercury socks out of it. Yeah, and it's cool because you knit the front piece side to side, and then you knit the back piece top to bottom. And then you attach them and keep knitting once you finish the upper back. So it's really cool. And I think it'll be fun. I think what I'm going to do is, instead of just, once I've finished assembling it, I don't think I'm going to, oh my gosh, words, Joy, get it together. I'm not going to do the I-cord edge right away. I'm going to do like a band of garter and then the I-cord edge because I want to be able to wear it with leggings. I want to be able to wear everything that I own with leggings, basically. And I will say I did not swatch for this because I was like, it's so massively oversized, whatever size that like you knit pretty much, that I feel like it'll be fine because I'm knitting the large. So, and it'll grow with blocking, I'm sure. So yeah, I really, really, really like this pattern. I think it's going to be so fun. And I had originally planned to use those 3 colorways, the seagull, the silver fox, and the avocado yarn for a macariri shawl. But I was like, I have a lot of shawls and a lot of shawls on the needles and still more shawls that are going to be on the needles. I can use that yarn for something else, and I think this is going to be great. And I'll probably have enough left over. I might just make another one, like a smaller one, with just the, oh, wrong side, with just the silver fox and the seagull. And not worry about anything else, and just do like maybe even stripes all the way through. Who knows? But yeah, if you're looking for a fun little garment to knit and you need something simple, but with a fun construction, I think this is the ticket. Yep, Parachutey by Stephen West. All right, and my last work in progress that I have to show you today is a new cast on and also an acquisition. So I got my yarn, I got my yarn for a sweater. I'm knitting the Good Sweater by Julie Hoover. I just flippin' love her designs. They're so simple and so classic. Yeah, so I ordered some yarn from Custom Woolen Mills in Calgary, which is a Canadian mill, and it's kind of a funny story, I guess. I'll tell it real quick. So I ordered the fingering weight, their single ply mule spun fingering weight yarn, which is more of a sport weight, just in case you're wondering. And if you like the yarn, when you see it, just know that it's going to really be more of a sport weight than a fingering weight. They sell it in cones, 1 pound cones, which is 1,728 yards, Just like, it's a sweater quantity right there. And guess how much it is, guys? $32 plus shipping. But even with shipping, and it was under $50, I'm pretty sure, or it was just over $50, which for a sweater's quantity of 100% wool seemed pretty decent to me. Especially when you think if you're knitting a sweater, like say the boxy sweater or something, in hand dyed yarn, I mean that's a financial investment. So anyway, I digress. And I ordered it in this moss green colorway. Then they emailed me and they're like, oh, sorry, we don't have the cones in that color in stock, but we have 3 skeins of it. It works out to being 3/4 of a pound though. We'll adjust the price and everything. And I was like, well, do you have this color in the cones instead? And they're like, sorry, no. So I was like, okay, it's fine. I'll just get the 3 skeins. So they updated my order, and then I was looking at the order and I was like, I don't think I gave them my complete address. So I emailed them and told them that, and they were like, no, this is the address we have, and they listed the address and it was complete. And I was like, well, okay, something still didn't feel right, but I was like, okay. But it shipped. I was like, let's see if it arrives. It did. It arrived yesterday. But it's funny, it's a miracle that it arrived, because I had only put, as what it said on my order form, my apartment number and not the name of like my street and building number. But the package that arrived only had the building number but not my apartment number. But the mailman recognized my name, so he was able to deliver it. And yes, I will show you the skeins. Here they are. I've already caked up one of them, obviously, because I started knitting. But yeah, here they are. It's like a heathered moss green, which I love. This is exactly what I wanted. I hope it's not too dark. It shouldn't be dark. But anyway. Yeah, so they're lovely and tweedy. I won't lie to you, they smelled a little musty, so I aired them out, and then when I went to my parents last night, I put them in the dryer with some dryer sheets, and now they smell just fine. And then I knit a swatch, so I'll show you the swatch because it'll give you a better idea than what I've already knit. But yeah, see, like, oh my gosh, isn't that lovely? And I was expecting a really rustic yarn. Like, I was fully anticipating something scratchy, something that I would, maybe have to suffer a little for until it blocked. But it's not too scratchy. And then now that it's blocked and dry, like, I could definitely wear this against my skin. Like, I'll probably want to put a tank top underneath it. But, I mean, I'm also not using it for a turtleneck. The neckline's, like, pretty low. So, yeah, so just know, like, it is a little woolly, because it's a 100% wool, and it's non-superwash, and there's no merino, as far as I know, in here. But it is exactly what I wanted from this yarn. And this swatch was knit on the recommended needles. My stitches were slightly, like, my gauge was slightly off, but it worked out almost perfectly that if I just knit the smaller size, it should work out just fine, and I think it'll be fine. Again, it's a sweater with a lot of ease, so there's some forgiveness there. Here it is in the cake. Very generous skeins. They're like 120 some odd grams. And $9 a skein. So with shipping, guys, this sweater will cost me $44 Canadian. What? I know. So I cast this on today, this morning. And yeah, I'm just working on the bottom ribbing. It is a seamed sweater, which I'm a little bit trepidatious about, but I mean, that's okay. I gotta learn. So yeah, this is the bottom ribbing. As you can see, like, it's definitely wider than my body, so I think it'll be fine. And yeah, that was my first time doing like a ribbed cast on. So it was long tail cast on, but you alternated between regular long tail and purlwise long tail. And I mean, I don't know if it made a really huge difference because I don't really pay that close attention, but it looks really nice and neat to me. So yes, I will say, for me, I don't know, the pattern is written in sort of a confusing way, and it required me to do like math. I don't know, like, maybe it's just me, and I always struggled with word problems, like, as a kid. I'm sorry if you can hear the lawnmower out there. Maybe I should close the door. You can probably still hear it, but oh well. Also, look at little Opie. Hey, Opes! He's just watching. Aw, such a cutie pie. Opie has really bad seasonal allergies right now, so he's medicated, unfortunately. It makes him very thirsty and tired, my poor guy. But it's okay. Yeah, so I'll hopefully finish the ribbing today and move on to the stockinette portion. And it is, the sweater is essentially all stockinette, with the exception of like the ribbed hem and the ribbed cuffs. But I wanted that. And I think it's going to look really good in this yarn because the yarn has so much texture naturally. So yeah, there it is, Custom Woolen Mills. If you like a rustic yarn and you like heathered yarns and you want something that's not going to break the bank but is still going to be a quality product, I would definitely recommend them. They were really nice and helpful and respond quickly. I will say it did take a while for it to ship. Like, for some reason the order took forever to process, but I don't know. The shipping itself, it came within 2 or 3 days of when it shipped, so I didn't think that was too bad. And I want to try their worsted weight yarn as well, which has got some pretty good reviews on Ravelry. Yeah, so I think that was all I was going to show you work in progress wise. Was there anything else I wanted to say about Custom Woolen Mills? No, I don't think so. I think that was it. But I'm really excited to have that sweater. I've been kind of like really into the idea of, because you see a lot of people in the podcasting realm, and they talk about like a me-made wardrobe and replacing their store-bought clothes with with handmade items. And I really like that idea, because what I'd really like for the majority of my wardrobe going forward is that it's either handmade by myself or Luke or thrifted. I'm not really into like going to the mall and shopping anymore. It just doesn't do anything for me. But yeah, anyway, that's a bit of a digression. But let's move on, shall we? I think I said that before. Whatever. We're moving on to stuff I bought for knitting. I didn't buy this. This was a gift, but it's obviously an acquisition, so here we go. So my friend, one of my best friends, Anna, was just in England for over a month doing an incredible program with historic palaces. And Anna is also a knitter. I taught her how to knit at a coffee shop once. It was great. But I had asked her if she saw any real British wool to pick me up some, and so I'm gonna swap her for a skein of avocado dyed yarn. So she was in the Cotswolds, and she bought me this. Hold on, let me get the things right. Yeah. So this, they're 50 grams each. It's Armscote Manor, and it's 119 yards per skein, 100% undyed, unbleached British wool. It says Portland wool is spun from the fleeces of a conservation grazing flock of this rare breed, which is one of the oldest known breeds in England. So this is super British wool. It's very rustic. This was what I was expecting the Custom Woolen Mills yarn to be like. So yeah, I don't know if you can see, but there's little wiry brown hairs in there. They're just so cool. And I'm debating what to do with this, because part of me is maybe I'll knit a really nice textured or cabled hat. That could be really nice, and I should have enough for that. Or I could get another skein of DK and make it a colorwork hat. But then I was also there's this woman, you may know her from Twitter or Instagram or Vine, Zwarples Ireland, and she raises Zwarples sheep, and she spins their fleece into beautiful yarn, which is also DK weight, and it's fairly affordable. I think it's €8.50 per 100 grams. And I thought, it would be kind of cool to get a sweater's quantity of this Warples yarn, and then maybe do a little bit of color work, or even like just contrasting like cuffs and hem, and have like a 100% British wool sweater. And obviously it would probably be pretty rustic, so it would like be intended to be like an outerwear sweater. So I don't know what to do. Like, I want the instant gratification of like casting on this yarn, but I also don't want to like knit a hat and then be like, but I have like 8 hats already. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'll knit like a swatch just to kind of get it out of my system and like wash it and see what happens to it, and then make my decision from there. But this Warples yarn, if you don't know, is like a really dark brownish gray, and I just think it would look really, really nice with this particular yarn, and it would be really cool to just have this like whatever it is called, this British wool sweater that's all like scratchy and rustic and old-fashioned-y. I just have these visions of myself like wandering the moors in like Wellington boots and a big like cozy scratchy wool sweater. I mean, I live in Waterloo, Ontario. I'm never going to experience that, but a girl can dream, can't she? Yeah, so that is all the yarny, woolly goodness that I have for you today. So if that's all you came for, I hope you were entertained at some point during this podcast, and it was great chatting with you. And of course, you can find all of my contact information and stuff down below. And if not, you want to hang around for my last segment. I know it hasn't been here for a while, but I've got a couple things that I wanted to talk about. Stick around for my life, etc. Alright, this is where I talk about all the other stuff that's going on in my life. Yeah, so like I was saying before, I was kind of in an off mood. I hadn't really felt like that in quite a while, and it was sort of disconcerting. If you've had depression or anxiety of any kind and you've kind of come out of it, like I think for me a lot of it is external. I don't think all of it is, but a lot of it is like exacerbated by external things, and then you come out of it and you're like, wow, like this is what it feels like to enjoy waking up in the morning. Wow, that's really nice. And it almost feels like a different person was like existing in your body that was making you feel so awful. At least that's how it is for me. So it was weird to then kind of go back into that mood and be like, this is awful. Like, I don't want to feel like this. Sorry, I think I just spat. I hope you didn't see that. Gross. So it was like, I was trying to like kind of wake myself out of it, and I don't know if it was working, and I'd have like really great moments, but then I'd just feel myself kind of sinking back. But I'm feeling better today. I think I'm just stressed because of the shop stuff. It's like, I have this, you have this thing, right? You have this fear. I'm sure everybody who opens their own business has felt this way. Oh, this fear of failure, right? I mean, that's pretty normal. And especially because, like, when you've invested quite a bit of money into that venture or whatever, and then the thought of, like, oh, like, what if it doesn't fly, and then we spent all this money, and it was for nothing, we could have spent that money on something else, on putting a down payment on a house, or going on a small trip, or buying more souvenirs on our vacation, or whatever. Or just, having money in savings is a good thing to do when you're an adult. So there's that fear, and then, like, because of that fear, I think maybe it's like, okay, hold on, let me just try to figure out how to articulate this. It's like you start thinking, well, if I don't do it, then I can't fail at it. So then you procrastinate. You know what I mean? And then that's dumb because it stresses you out because you're like, but I need to get it done. Like, it has to be done. And especially because Luke is half of this venture, and he's super excited for it, and I'm super excited for it. But there's just like, there's always that sort of underlying fear of, well, what if it just doesn't work out? And then it was all for nothing. But I keep trying to remind myself that the absolute worst thing that could happen is that not one thing sells, and then I just have 50 skeins of yarn that I get to knit with. Sweaters quantities of yarn everywhere. So, I mean, that is not obviously awful, but not also ideal. Anyway, that's just me thinking out loud. But other stuff has happened. I've been listening to Salem's Lot by Stephen King on audiobook. Can't remember if I mentioned that last week. I'm almost done. I have a couple hours left to listen to. And I've been really enjoying starting my day by making a tea, sitting down, putting on the audiobook, and knitting. And, like, I love Stephen King so much. And I haven't read a ton of his work, but what I've read, I've just enjoyed. Absolutely. And it's so, like, spooky, and, like, the spookiness sneaks up on you. This one thing I find with Stephen King, like, I found that with Pet Sematary too, was that everything is so normal and average, and it just kind of plods along, and then bam, like, you don't realize you're scared until something moves in your apartment, and you're like, because, like, I've done that several times listening to Salem's Lot. Yeah, so that's been fun. I know Luke and I are planning to read Pet Sematary together once we finished. We're reading Goblet of Fire right now. Have I mentioned this in a while? One of the things Luke and I like to do together is I read out loud to him. And we were kind of in the mood for Harry Potter, so we busted out Goblet of Fire. And once that's done, we're going to read Pet Sematary to sort of ring in the autumn and the Halloween season. Which is my favorite season. I have so many plans for Halloween costumes for this podcast for October. It's awesome. Yeah, so that's been a lot of fun. I haven't read a lot, but I'm thinking that the audiobook thing is going to be really good, because I can also be doing other things. I can be working on stuff for the shop, I can be knitting, I can be eating, whatever, and I can still be entertained by literature. Yeah, and then I'm gonna be going on a job hunt, I think, soon, which sucks, guys. Job hunting sucks. And the thing is that, like, and I don't want to sound snobby about it, but I just literally cannot stomach a mall job right now. Like, working at a clothing store, or working just at, like, a store that's selling junk. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially with clothing stores, which are rampant everywhere, like I just said, I'm trying to minimize my wardrobe and to be more, like, conscious of my wardrobe and my choices, and I think working at a clothing store is just gonna make me, like, hoard clothes. I'm just gonna have clothes everywhere, and that's not what I want. I'd like to find a job somewhere that is relevant to my interests, like a yarn store, or an art store, or a bookstore. You know what I mean? Something a little quieter, where the people coming into the store, like, you know what their interests are, right? You know that if they're walking into the art store, they're art students, or they're artists, and they're looking for supplies. If they walk into a scrapbooking store, you know they're looking for scrapbooking supplies, and there's sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like, common ground already, and you don't get the people that are awful. Like, when I worked at a pharmacy, and that was terrible, and everybody was just awful 90% of the time. So, I've been kind of stressing out about that too, I think, and, but I just need to start applying to places, I think. And yeah, I don't think... Oh, one thing I have been watching is Worst Witch on Netflix, which is a British show about... It's kind of Harry Potter-ish, where it's like, it's a little girl who ends up going to a magic academy. she was not anticipating being a witch, but now she's gonna be one, and, you know, havoc ensues. But it's so charming and so cute, and I like, it's definitely a kid's show, but even watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. Like, I love this so much, and I want to be a witch. Like a Harry Potter kind of witch. But anyway, yeah, so if you're looking for something really fun to watch, or if you have kids, put on Worst Witch. It's adorable. And, yeah, I think I'm like 5 or 6 episodes in. It's good. And, of course, Game of Thrones. I'm not going to spoil anything, but guys, I was upset. I was upset about that last episode. I'm nervous about this next one. I don't know. This series kills me. Yeah. I think that's kind of all I've got for you guys today. I don't want to go on forever. And again, my throat is hurting. Why is this happening to me all of a sudden? I've never had this problem before. Maybe I need to be like a good podcaster again and start like drinking my tea. But I'm always afraid because I get lipstick all over my teeth. So I don't know. The conundrum is real. It's not. It's fine. Life is fine. Everything's good. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna leave it there, guys. If you would like to find me elsewhere on the internet, you can find me on Ravelry as dabblejoy, and you can find me on Instagram as Rhineland Story. And if you'd like to follow along with the Cabinet of Curios journey, although I admit I have not been posting on any of my social media in a while because of reasons I already explained, you can find us on Instagram at cabinet.of.curios. So, yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Well, I guess at this point it's Friday, so have a great weekend. Have a great next week until I see you next. I hope you spend time with people that you love, doing things that you love, and yeah, happy knitting, happy living, over and out.